All right, on this piece of paper, we're going to be making some bubble letters. You can choose your own word, or if you're stuck and you're kind of trying to figure out what word you should use, you can always go with your name. Easiest way to start bubble letters is to write out your word just like you normally write it, but you want to leave a little extra space in between your letters. After you write it like that, come back and trace around your letters just the way you had them written. Each time you do a letter, erase the inside. It's really important at the start of this project to make sure that you're drawing lightly so you can erase everything nice and clean. If your letters touch and overlap, that's okay, and in fact that'll actually help your design at the end. I hear a lot from kids that say we can't find erasers. They're in here somewhere. You're going to have to look down deep underneath the markers. You might even have to move some around. If we don't have enough for you guys to share, at least 2 per table, we do have some extra ones we can give out at the start of the project. I'm going to pause our clip right here and I'm going to get a little bit more done, and then I'll show you and walk you through the next set of steps. Okay, I've worked through my B and my R again. With this second step, you can actually end up doing anything to your letters that you want. I'm a fan of taking chunks out, so it kind of looks like a piece of Swiss cheese with holes in it. But in this step, I'm also making some of my letters a little bit more bubbly. So watch what I do with the A. I'm retracing around the outside of that bubble letter I made in step number 2, and I'm making it a little bit thicker. And just like the first time we went through this, I'm erasing the letter inside as I go. But now I'm also going to decide where I want some of those pieces to come out. So if you're not really sure what to do with your letter, you can definitely try to do the same thing that I'm doing here and take pieces out. I'll show you again with the D. Now if you look what happens here, it gets a little confusing, so make sure as you go you're erasing inside one letter at a time so you don't end up with too many pencil lines on your paper, otherwise it gets really confusing. And again, I come in and decide where I want my pieces taken out. And I'll do the same thing with the Y, and next time you see this clip, it'll be a little bit farther along. Okay, with this piece, I just started to draw my own little imaginary line through half of all my letters. That helps to make it a little bit harder to read and begins to take your bubble letters and make them start to look a little bit more like they were written in the style of graffiti. Another thing you can do to make it look a little bit fancier is to draw an outline around the entire word that you have written on your paper. You can also come back into your letters and add things like little highlights, kind of like that. If you look at them, they're pretty simple to do. They're just little tiny triangles. Sometimes they have little squares at the end, just like this guy or right here. You can also add things in there like some paint splatters. And once you've got some bubble letters done that you're happy with, that kind of start to look like they were written in graffiti, you can fill up this space out here with other stuff. And since we're going for graffiti, I'm going to try to draw a little spray paint can over here. Now I'm ready for color. Markers are a good way to go if you're looking to color a large surface area, but if you're kind of like me and you like to shade things, colored pencils that have been nice and sharpened are going to be your best bet. You can also add colored pencils and markers together if you would like to. Nobody says you can't do that. This is a project that you guys are doing just for fun. And one more thing, pretend for a minute that I've got all this stuff colored here, and maybe I want to make kind of a brick wall design back here. Instead of drawing every single brick, I can make it look like there's bricks by just drawing a few of them.